Testes, testes, 1, 2, 3?
I somehow want to share it with you. I've got a fire in my heart. I hope
Welcome back to Scott's Boring Life. I'm glad you're here. I'm Scott. This is my boring podcast. It is December 4th. And last we spoke, I was telling you that I was going to complete an audiobook, and by golly, I did. Yeah. Finished that fucker. Felt good. It's nice to finish things, isn't it? Yeah. So it's done. Yeah, it wasn't a full-length novel. It was a novella. But I tell you what, man, those audiobooks are a motherfucker. They're a lot of work. And I'm glad it's done. So I think what I said I was going to do is in the morning write my novel and in the evenings do the audiobook. Well, that didn't work out. Maybe you knew that wasn't going to work out. Well, you're right. Hang on a second. Can you hear the fan? Maybe you can't. Fucking screaming in my ears. Give me a sec. I'm gonna turn it off. Can you hear that? Nothing. Isn't that great? Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So plan A was to write my novel and simultaneously narrate this audiobook and edit it and get it done. So I did not do both at the same time. I didn't write in the morning and finish off my day with the audiobook. It just didn't work out because one was affecting the other. So what I did was just the audiobook. I put my novel to the side, reluctantly, but it had to be done. It had to be done. But the good news is I finished the audiobook. It's called Ghosted. It's a novella, so I don't know how many words it is, to be honest. But it's something between 20 and 30,000 words, I think, maybe more. It was longer than I thought it would be. But I had a lot of fun doing it. It's a fun thing to do. It's very laborious. At the end of the day, you really feel like you kind of did a labor job. You know, you're tired in that kind of way. And then when the editing comes, holy moly, that's when it's a lot of work. You have to take out every breath, every gross little slapping sound your mouth makes. I'll try not to do any of those right now, because I don't edit this in that fashion. But it's done. It's called Ghosted. Have I said that? Did I mention that? I forget. But anyway, it's called Ghosted. And it's my wife's thing. She has a series of novels called Experiment in Terror. The series is called Experiment in Terror, and it's a 9-book series, and she's decided to revisit it. And this is like a novella that is kind of the liftoff. It's almost like a teaser or like a trailer. It's a short novel. It's a novella letting her readers know that, hey, we're getting back into this. So it was a lot of fun to do. It was obviously in the male perspective. So that's like, okay, I can do this. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, it took a while. We're December 4th now, and I don't remember when we left last time, but here we are. I didn't just finish today. I finished a little while ago. I'm back into the novel now. This is day 2 working on the novel. So I think last time I said it was at 20,000 words, but I exaggerated, all right? I lied to you. Why do I do that? Why does anybody do that? What's the difference? I think I was like at 19,000 words, and I rounded up, all right? All right, I'm being honest with you now. I was trying to impress you. I guess I want to impress you for some reason. I was at 19,000, and I said 20,000. So now I'm at, well, gee, I don't want to lie this time, so I'm going to look right at my computer. Not much, right? 24,059. So anyway, I did a little bit. So I think I have a plan. I'm going to tell you my plan, all right? Because I got this new endeavor. I'm taking a course on how to do advertising for books with Amazon. And it's taken some time. It's taken some personal energy, and again, it makes sense that I would put my energy into that and not my book. So what do I? And I have other responsibilities as well, just like anybody else. So what do? The plan I came up with, just between you and me, is I'm going to wake up crazy early, like dairy farmer early. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. Maybe it's not that early. But I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to sneak downstairs, have my coffee, and from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., which is 3 fucking hours, that's a lot of time, work on my novel. While I have my coffee, eat my oatmeal, whatever the fuck, work on my novel at that time. The world isn't woken up yet. I can kind of sneak it in. And if you just do if I can just get 1,000 words in, and that's not a lot. I mean, I feel like I'm being a real, I don't know, degenerate's the word, but like a underachiever or something, doing 1,000 words a day, because that's not a lot, especially with 3 hours. But this is a new thing. I've only done this over the last couple of days. Maybe I could up that number to 2,000 words a day. That'd be nice. But my point, I got a point. All right, stick with me. All right, I realize I'm being a little bit scattered here. But my point is that if you can do 1,000 words a day, in 90 days, you have 90,000 words. I mean, you got a full-length novel. And just a second ago, I was saying that like 1,000 words a day is kind of cheating. I mean, I feel like I'm not carrying enough weight. I'm not taking on enough responsibility or something. But you got to keep with it, right? You got to keep with it. That's a trick. That's the whole thing. And the world doesn't want you to. I don't know. Anyway. So I'm pushing along, man. I'm struggling along. It's not struggling. Come on, relax, eh? I'm soldiering along and moving. I'm making some headway. So I finished the audiobook, and you know what? I'm going to play a sample later. Do you want to hear it? No, really? You don't? Oh, fine. I won't play the sample. Dickhead. I'm kidding. I'm going to play it. I'll play it. Maybe not at the end of it. I always wait to the end and I play the thing and I disappear. Maybe I'll play it. Maybe I'll play it. Maybe I'll do it right now. Let's jump into it. Who cares, right? Let's just throw our format out the window and then do what feels right. It feels right to play it right now. So what I'm shifting gears from, I was in a single gear for like 2 weeks, and what I was doing was narrating an audiobook called Ghosted, written by my very talented and impressive and beautiful wife, Karina Halley. So I did that, and now here I am trying to checking in with you, seeing how you're doing, and I'm going to show you an example. Right, that's what friends do. What have you been doing? right? You email me, let me know. I'm going to show you what I've been doing. So here's a sample of the audiobook called Ghosted, written by Karina Halley, narrated by moi. And it seems we're out of time, he says, taking out his phone. What do you... My words are cut off by all the lights in the house going on at once, illuminating people standing all around us. Dead people. Fucking everywhere. Perry and I scream bloody murder, our voices rattling through the house, and then the lights go back off. The dead people disappear. The bloody water that was inches from our boots retreats back under the door, like a film in reverse. November 1st, Atlas says tiredly. The walls have closed. I barely hear him. Barely take in how quickly time has passed since we've been in this house. All I hear is the rush of blood in my head, the dry rasp of my breath as I try to breathe. And all I feel is something deep inside me coming alive again, hitching a ride on the adrenaline that's pumping through my veins. I look down at Perry to see if she feels it too. The electricity, the heat, the desire, the purpose. Because fuck it if Atlas wasn't right about that. She's breathing hard, her hand to her chest, and she looks scared. So, that's it. That's my sample. I got a couple of different samples. When you're doing a sample, you just go through the whole fucking thing and you pick a little sample. And that's one. I enjoyed it. Am I being nuts doing this? Yeah, I got to admit, sometimes I'm like, oh my Lord, this is a crazy person would do this. I don't know. I mean, it's up my alley. I got this studio. I got a wife who's a successful author. I don't know. Makes sense for me. I like doing it. I tell you what. Email me if you think I'm being fucking insane spending my time doing these audiobooks. ScottMcKenzie323@gmail.com. But those days are over, man. I'm back into writing my own book. In this book, boy oh boy, I know nothing. I have no idea what I'm doing. More than ever, I'm just kind of moving along blindly in a creative sense. I know I'm taking a risk. How about this? I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, because I maybe it might, but I think I could write to a market, how do I say this? I think I could write a short novel that would sell okay and maybe very well, but at least would sell okay. I won't pat myself in the back too much. I think if I did that, I would also get a fuckload of bad reviews, because people know when you're pandering to something and you're trying to make a buck. But regardless, just something like sex sells, just something, just do everything, hit every note, every beat with the intention on selling this fucking book. And I think I can do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. It's not easy making a living, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And maybe one day I might do that in a way, because it could be kind of a badass thing to do. Just be like, okay, could I do this? I mean, it's what the fuck is my point? What's my point? My point is, this time around, I did the opposite of that. I'm not trying to alienate anybody, but I'm just letting this book go in the direction I feel like it needs to go. It's kind of like it's kind of steering itself. And I just have to keep the power of the motor going, but it's steering itself. I don't know. There's a part of me that I feel like I'm going to make a fool of myself, and that I'm going to embarrass myself. And I've written stuff that should have made me feel that way, but didn't. But this time around, it certainly is. I think maybe because now it's a time it's like, okay, maybe you should be selling. Maybe this book should sell a few, for crying out loud. You're in your 40s, and if you're going to say this is your career, you should be selling enough books where it resembles something like a career. And I'm not really writing a book right now that, is begging people to buy it. But I'm begging people to buy it. Oh fuck! I'm not shy about that. I mean, God, please buy it. I didn't know what it's gonna be called. I think it's gonna be called Detour. I don't know. I've already written a script, and I'm gonna put the script at the end of the book. I mean, I think you're not supposed to do that, but I'm gonna do it anyway. The script is called Killer New App. Like a phone app. Killer New App. It's kind of gimmicky, right? That's okay. And the novel right now I have as Detour. That's the name of the Killer New App in the book. Have you heard of that Killer New App called Detour? Right? You get the idea. I don't know. Maybe I'll just call Killer New App. Should I call Killer New App or Detour? Could you please email me and say, Scott, you should call your book this. ScottMcKenzie323@gmail.com. Hey, what'd you think of that sample, by the way? The audiobook. Am I being a fucking idiot doing this? I don't know. I don't think so. I like it. I'll tell you what, man. You know what? I'm going to tell you a story. If we're being honest here, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this. It's so stupid, but interesting. It's worth sticking around and listening, I think. If I were you, I'd find it interesting. Okay, I lived in Montreal. I had this great apartment in Montreal, and I fell for this very kind of witchy girl that was my age. We're both in our 20s. She barely spoke English, and I barely spoke French. She had dark hair, and she was very eccentric, and she was an artist soul, and she still is today. So I was very taken with her, and anyway, she ended up moving in. She was my girlfriend, I guess you could say. No, and I guess she was my girlfriend, and so we lived in this super cool apartment and it was not a long chapter of my life, but it was a good one. I was poor as fuck, but I didn't know the difference, and it was okay. And I always wanted to try acting. And growing up, where I grew up, that was not an option. I mean, if you're, it's just, I don't even know where to start, but it just was not an option. And apparently I felt like it still wasn't an option in my 20s. So this eccentric girlfriend I had, I lied to her. I told her I was going to a marketing class every Wednesday night. A marketing class. That's what I came up with. That's what I thought she would think is cool or something. And really, what I was doing is going to an acting class. So every Wednesday, I'd spend a few hours, and it was in Montreal on top of this Chinese restaurant. I would go to this acting class, and I adored it. I had such a good time. The teacher's name was Chip. And he was a cool dude, and he sold Labatt Blue. He sold beer, and after I'd get good and buzzed drinking beer with him and whoever else would hang out after. And it was cool. I really enjoyed it. And I never told anybody that. Actually, at one point I told I think I told my dad. I think I told a couple people, my brother-in-law. I never told my girlfriend at the time. She doesn't know till this day. One day I'm going to tell her. She's going to be, what the fuck? It's way cooler than marketing. I was embarrassed. I don't know. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe I just wasn't embarrassed. But maybe sometimes it's nice having something that's just for you, you know? I don't know. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. What's my point? I don't know. But, I mean, I'm 40 years old now. So, I'm a big believer that it's never too late to, as long as you move forward responsibly, it's never too late to try new things, you know. But anyway, so that was in my early 20s. And then, I don't know, that's the end of the story. That's the story. And I just think it's kind of, never told anybody. So I just told you. Not that provocative, I guess, but in a way it is, because this is a secret. I told you. I'll tell you, one day when I see her, Valerie was her name. So Valerie, get this. I'll tell her one day what happened. Get this. So she left me, and good on her, because we weren't meant to be together. We could barely talk. We just got caught up in in a young person's kind of romance. It was a lot of my doing. I think I did my best to sweep her up into something. I was very taken by her. But we couldn't, I mean, this is just so stupid. We should not have moved in together, that's for sure. So get that, she worked at a poutine place. That's a place with like fries, gravy, and cheese. Big thing in Quebec. Anyway, she worked at this place called the Banquise, where they had like 100 different kinds of these poutines. She's a waitress, and she fell in love with the guy who made the poutine. And if you're from the States, because I know a lot of you are, and you don't understand what I'm talking about, this is funny right now because it's so stereotypical that you got to think this is a joke, but it's not. This is true, man. So this French girlfriend I lived with fell in love because she worked with this guy who made poutine. She was a waitress at the poutine place, and he was a clown. I don't mean like in a derogatory way. He literally like a red nose, big shoes. And his dad was a clown too, with a bigger red nose and bigger red shoes. And he's from a long line of clowns, like French clowns. And he went to clown school and the whole thing. And she just loved the hell out of him. And they got married. So she left me for him. And when she left, like in my head, I was like, good for you. I mean, that's a wise decision. And I didn't know at the time she's going to that of clown guy, but I suspected there was something somewhere. So anyway, moving along. So a couple of years later, she marries the clown guy, and she had a clown theme wedding. Like everybody wore like the red noses and everything, and painted their faces, and it's great. So I hope I'm not making fun of them right now, because I'm not. I think it's very cool to be different, and she's a really, really cool person. And I never met him, and I'm sure he's really, really rad as well. So the reason this is funny is not because I'm making fun of somebody. It's funny because it's such a it's something funny about it in my perspective, you know? Like this English guy falls in love or whatever with this witchy, eccentric, artistic, whimsical French girl, and she leaves him for a guy that from a poutine place. It's just so stereotypical. Trust me. If you're from the States, you're like, this isn't fun. It is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. And anyway, that's that story. How you doing? You hanging in there? Are you still listening to me? Holy fuck. Because I'm really rambling on today. My studio's awesome down here. I mean, I spend a lot of time down here these days. Today was a beautiful day. There's a blue sky. And it's December 4th. Oh my lord, it's been just dark and cloudy like a motherfucker for like a month. And it's been nice. It's been okay. And I went down to the beach and I saw a sailboat go by, and I officially miss it, man. Oh, do I ever miss it? I used to have a sailboat. I think I told you that. And I sold it. It was the right thing to do. They take a lot of responsibility to keep afloat. And I didn't miss it for a long time, but I do now. I'm gonna be honest with you again. The reason I sold it was because I felt deep down that, like, sell it, man, and in a few years you'll get a better one. Because like it was this like old tired fucking thing, man. Like you couldn't clean it. You know, whenever, like, I don't know what to compare it to. If you've never been in an old, dirty old sailboat, what would I compare it to? Maybe an old piece of furniture that's so old and rotted that you're like, okay, I'm going to clean this thing now, but you can't clean it because, like, you wipe your cloth along and you're just picking up like old rotted wood, and you can just do it for an hour, but like you'll never clean it because like you know what I mean? So that's what my sailboat was. It was this old tired thing that would and it was just leaking water and full of mold. But then sometimes I'm like, well, fuck you, idiot. Maybe you should have kept it and just kept on working at it, rebuilt it, you know. I don't know. No, that's stupid. I know. I mean, that's many years ago. We've traveled around the world. There's no way I could have kept it. But now I miss it. I do. I fucking miss it, man. And now it's not the right time. I know I won't get a sailboat this summer. And next summer, who fucking knows? God. I don't think ever in my life have I ever been less sure of the future. I have no idea where we'll live in the world or what. Very, very, very mysterious times. I tell you what, man. Anyway, I don't know. I think I'm going to say goodbye. I appreciate you tuning in. I really do. My name is Scott. This is my boring podcast. And it means a lot. I mean, and if one day you want to buy the book that we've been kind of talking about, it's either called Detour or Killer New App. Or something else that I come up with between now and then. I don't know. I'd like to hear from you. ScottMcKenzie323@gmail.com. Anyway, the other day I was driving around my island and I found a CD in my glove box, a blank one, and I have a CD player in my truck. So I put it in. I'm like, what is this? And what it was my original recordings of an album. So when I say original recordings, it's like what I did in my studio before I sent it to a mixer to make it sound better. That's something I do. And you know what, man? Although the mixer guy does make it sound better for sure, there's something special about the original. So I thought I'd share that with you right now. And it's called Fuzz Face, and it's from a few years ago. And I'll let this play out. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to come in, check in on you again at the end of this. We're going to continue talking, okay? This has all kinds of mistakes and fuck-ups. We got the mixer fixed, but there's something special about it. It's very honest. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. So that's Fuzzface. Thanks for sticking around. Oh my lord. Jeez, don't you have things to do? Anyway, you know what's funny is I mentioned that I sent these songs to a mixer, and then he makes them sound better, and then they go on an album. But you know what? I misspoke. This particular song never made it on any album, so what you just heard has never been heard before. I think I might have put it on YouTube, but I don't think it got many hits. Anyway, this is turning into a fairly long podcast. Geez, what do we learn today? What do we learn from this podcast? Well, we learned that a very young Scott in his early 20s, a different version of myself, I'd say, from now, because I'm almost 40, was in Montreal in a cool apartment and secretly went to an acting class on top of a Chinese restaurant and lied to his girlfriend. We learned that I finished the audiobook called Ghosted. What else did we learn? I don't know. I mean, I've had 4 or 5 beers, so God knows what I've said. I hope I didn't incriminate myself. I tell you what, man, this podcast thing, I'm into it. I canceled my social media again. And I mean, I think it's been it hasn't been long. And I've got back into writing. I'm taking a course. I'm podcasting. I mean, it works out for me because it works out for me. I miss some of you out there for sure that I see on social media, but so we learned that. We learned a few things. All right, so it's December 4th. This is Scott's Boring Life. I'm Scott. I appreciate you sticking around. If you've stuck around this whole bloody thing, by golly, thank you. Thanks for listening. I really appreciate it. And, it's going to be all right. Don't worry. It's all good, baby. Okay? All right. I'll talk to you next time.